Hi, everybody. Welcome. We are kicking off the Hot and Brave Doula Club today with our first guest lecture. We have Kelsey Foremost joining us here, and we're going to be talking all about copy. And I just wanted to say thank you to all of our early adopters of our club because, technology, everything was delayed. So what was supposed to go live in March is going live today. And I guess that's just like construction, whether it's boards and drywall or graphics and coding and API integrations. So we're really, really excited. And we thought one of the best things to kick it off, because it takes a little bit to get your head around some of the copy and some of the things we're going to need to change, so that we can make sure we can get your classes and your courses and your client rosters full. So we wanted to do it in August, even though I'm in the middle of a move, hence it's all like white and bare and terrible, and all around my feet, y'all, is boxes and chaos. And as a highly sensitive person, this is not my environment to thrive. So, but we wanted to do copy first and do it in August so that we could give you guys some time before we really do that ramp up for September. I know a lot of you will have your kids going back if you have littles back to school, so it's going to free up some time. But you can start kind of percolating on your messaging and how you want to communicate, because the reality is people have 1 second when they land on your website, and they want to have the equivalent of you being like, hi, I'm so-and-so, these are my services, this is why we're awesome, this is what I can do for you, these are the problems I can solve. But you have to say it with a few words in 1 second. So we called in the experts. Kelsey.
I'm here. I heard the call.
So you're here to save the day.
Yes,
Give it to us.
I am here. Well, yes, save the day, but also just level set immediately. I always like to start any class I teach by saying, you are not alone and you are not weird if writing feels intimidating to you and if selling feels gross to you. I am the type of person and the type of teacher where I want to teach you how to show up in a very authentic way, but also use copywriter tricks, formulas, science to trigger somebody who already wants to hire you to more quickly understand who you are and how you help them. So this is not about have your first 6-figure month. We're not doing that. We're not doing that. I never do that. I hate, what happened?
No, you're good. You're good here.
Okay, we're still live.
Yeah, it feels so bad, that stuff.
Yeah, it feels, and your customers can feel that desperate energy too, right? I bet I'm not off base in guessing that this crew understands the power of energy, what you come with when you come into a room, whether it is in person or whether it is your website, your website and your social media. You have to think of it now as you have to have it. It is your business calling card. And if you ignore it, you are not only leaving money on the table, but you're leaving a lot of people you could really help without the knowledge of how to work with you or why working with you would give them a better experience than going the traditional route. Yeah. So I am going to show some slides for y'all right now. And we are going to go through copywriting 101 in a way that is geared towards action. So if you have a notebook, please get it. If you're a screenshot person, get ready. I really want you to take this and use it. This is action based. I want you, by the time you leave, thank you, Julie. I'm excited you're here too. By the time you leave, in particular at the end of this stream, towards the end of my slides, I'm actually going to give you formulas for something I want you to put on your website. It's called the Do You Dream About section. So hang with me through the instructional parts and get to the Do You Dream About section, because that's something that you can literally take and do it in 30 minutes on your website. Okay, so here we go. Let's get into, here we are. Play. All right. We seeing this okay?
Yes.
Awesome. Okay. So, we're going to talk about connected copywriting today. And I title this Three Tricks to 3x Conversions on Web, Email, and Social Media. And the reason I title it that is because nerdy statistics. There is a study that has shown that businesses that invest in their copy see 300% more conversions. So that's triple the results. That's not just like people clicking buttons, that's people signing up for your email list. It's people actually buying things like courses. It is people going to the next website, like any action that you want people to take, you get it 3 times the actions if
Mm.
you just pay attention to your words. So we got to level set like what exactly is copy before we really dive into it. So copy just is a fancy way of saying anywhere that you have words that represent you or your business. Now, if you think about that, that's a lot of places. That is your website, your sales pages, your emails, your social. Like words are everywhere. Sorry to tell you, you cannot escape copy and you cannot hire a professional copywriter to write everything for you. As a business owner, which is what you are, you're a doula, yes, but you are also a business owner. You need to be able to sit down with confidence and know this is my brand voice. This is how I represent myself in the interwebs, right? Okay, so now we know what copy is. What is copywriting? So there's a big misconception that copywriting is just words or writing, but it's actually the art and science of using words to convince a reader to take action. So I like to describe this as the art is you. The art is the energy you're showing up with. Are you a like taskmaster coach or are you a soft, feminine, like, come into my cozy cave type of energy? That's the art, right? That's how you make people feel. The science is where I come in. There are trigger words, phrases, formulas, things that make people sit up and pay attention and also increase the likelihood that someone is going to remember you later, which is super important. So, off the bat, again, I hate sales. I hate salesy language. I'm a business owner too. I hate feeling like I'm being a used car salesman or being annoying, right? So, something that really helps me when I'm sitting down to think about copy in order to get clients, fill my roster, all of that, is that people are coming to me because they already have a problem. They already have a pain point. They don't know what to write. They don't, in your case, like they don't know what they don't know about the birth process. Maybe it's their first kid. Maybe they have one and they want it to go differently. They're coming to you because they already have a problem and they're looking to you to solve it. So with copy, you're just letting them know with words that you see them, which we all know how valuable that is. You understand them. To be understood is the most wonderful feeling in the world. And that you can help them. It comes down to them more quickly understanding that you can help them, that they can trust you. It's gonna be okay. They are in good hands. And that makes people hit purchase or book a consultation way faster than any flashy discount code. Okay. So here's where I want you all to get your notebooks out. This is the 3 C's of copywriting. We're going to go over these 3 C's together first, and then we are going to get into how to write that "Do You Dream About" section. Okay, 3 C's of copywriting. Number 1 is clarity. Number 2 is connection. And number 3 is conversion. If you have these 3 things buttoned up, it's almost guaranteed that your copy will be in way better shape than your competition. If you can be super clear, if you can have emotional connection, and if you can coach a reader towards conversion. And conversion just means taking an action that you want them to take. If these three things are solid, you are gold. So here is what you can do about each of these three C's. We're going to start with clarity. All right. Again, get those notebooks. This stuff is super valuable. So here's
just quickly, Kelsey, can you make your slides full screen? They're a tiny bit blurry on the like when you see it on the Facebook.
Yeah, they should be full screen.
Okay, there. Let me just see how that.
Is that better?
Yeah. Can everyone give a thumbs up if that worked? Thank you, y'all, for the feedback. Much better. Great. Yay. Okay, nailed it.
Awesome. Yeah. Is it just showing you the whole thing with thumbnails on the side, or is it not showing you? Oh, well, I'm like playing it. That's interesting. Okay. Well,
it's great. We can see it now, though.
Okay, great. So we'll just keep going. So if no one understands what it is you're offering, then no one is going to buy from you. So what I mean by that is there is a really common thing where we are so close to our business that we over-explain ourselves instead of getting right to a nitty-gritty point. We also feel often, especially if you are a female identifying person, that we over apologize. And we think like, oh, I have to prove that I'm worthy of this person's time. And so the way that we show up in language, it's like, it's just not clear. It's too much, right? So really think about clarity, that if no one understands what it is you're offering, then no one is actually going to buy. So something that it's kind of a tough nut to swallow, but a pill to swallow, tough nut to crack. We're cracking it.
We're doing this.
Whatever it is.
Kelsey, before you say the one thing, could you list some of the words just so that people can notice? Because I know when we're doing copy reviews, some of the ones are like people say like, I hope that you like this class, like the words, like the apology words that you were talking about.
Oh, yes.
Like hope or maybe.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I'm just is a big one. So there's an asterisk there, because it's not about using specific words as much as it is about the overall tone, because it can actually be quite effective. And we're actually going to get into an exercise on using words like, maybe you feel X.
Yeah, or, that's true.
Do you dream about Y? So it's the tone more than it is the specific words in this case. And with clarity, often what it comes down to is length. So the nerdy statistic that I was going to share is that about 2020, so about 3 years ago, we had 1 second to get a reader's attention. 5 years ago, we had 3 seconds. Today in 2022, 2023, what is time? We have 0.3 seconds. So 0.3 seconds is nothing. However, what you can take from that, what you can use there, is that because you only have 0.3 seconds, it's got to be short. So you want it to be clear over clever every single time. You don't want to have it be this clever pun. I love puns, but that's not the place for puns, right? You want it to be quick. You want, especially the very first thing on your webpage or your headlines, to be immediately understandable. If someone sees that one short sentence, I want them to know exactly what you're saying. So Next thing is that 80% of readers only skim headlines and subheadlines. So that's another nerdy statistic that might feel depressing, but again, you can use this to your advantage. So if you know when you're sitting down to write a lead magnet, a sales page, what have you, that people are only reading your headlines, probably like 80% of people, then you can use that and think, okay, I'm going to put the most important information clearly in my headlines. And then once people read the headlines, they will often go back and read the body copy. So if you focus on nothing else, make your headlines really clear, really quick, really easy to read. Okay, so this is for my verbal vomiters. I am one of you. I love to say that the trick to overcoming verbal vomit is to go ahead and verbal vomit. Go ahead and just get everything out on the page, um, right to your heart's content. And then I want you to either print it out physically or go away and come back to your computer. And you're going to take a highlighter and you are going to highlight only the most important information. And then you're going to delete everything else. It is so helpful to do this because I say there are two people that sit down to write every time you come to write copy. There's the editor and there's the writer. They should never be in the chair at the same time. When your writer is there, you've got to be so, you know, you've got to nurture them. You've got to make them feel great. You've got to let them be creative, let them fail. And then they go away and the editor comes in and is the asshole who's like, cut, 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 keep. So remember that, like, don't judge yourself while you're writing, judge yourself after you're done. Okay. So that's really helpful with clarity. Last thing I want to say on clarity, and then we're moving right along to the next C, is about the funnel of awareness. So when a person arrives on a web page, I want you to picture a web page like a funnel, like a V, right? And at the top, it's really wide. They have a low understanding, a low awareness about who you are and how you help. And then as they go down the page, the funnel gets narrower and narrower and narrower and narrower. And when they do that, it's like they're going around a whirlpool as they read your headlines and it's getting more aware, more aware, more aware, more aware. And at the very bottom of the funnel, they know exactly who you are, exactly what you do, and exactly what they should do next. So again, copy is driving people towards action. So you need to know, what is the action I'm hoping somebody's going to take by the time they're done reading this website? So if the action you want them to take is to subscribe to your newsletter, put a button on the bottom and say, subscribe to my newsletter here. If the action you want them to take is to book a consultation, ditto, big old button that says book a consultation. If you want them to go to your about page, big old button. Point being, you want the headlines to drive them down that whirlpool, drive them down that funnel of awareness so that by the end of the page, they are super ready to take action. Okay, second C, moving right along. Now we are talking about connection. So there's only one question in any reader's mind at any given point, and that question is, what's in it for me? So a lot of people say this, but it bears saying again and again and again that good copy is actually not about you. It's not about your training. It's not about your history. There are elements of you that are going to come into it, but the majority of your copy should actually be about your ideal customer. So when you are writing, think about, what's the story that they are living right now? What is the story that they want to be living? What's the transformation that I can provide them? You do that with copywriting by addressing pain points, anticipating frequently asked questions, and biggie, including testimonials. So, what do I mean by addressing pain points? A pain point is something, anything that is a reason someone has not booked with you or someone like you before. It is a thing that is wrong in their life that they need help with. So, a pain point for someone who's hiring a doula might be maybe they come from a family of origin where hospital births are the only thing that you know. A pain point may be that maybe they're a single parent and they need support, they need extra help. Pain points, again, just anything that's like the reason they Googled to find you.
Yeah, and I just want to jump in here just quickly, Kelsey. So, with the pain points with birth workers, I know a lot of you put the benefits of having a birth worker there, and then you kind of do the reverse of a pain point. So, we decrease or, we increase feeding from your body by this amount. And so then we could go like, oh, then let's talk about this. But I want you guys to think about what your clients, or even at consults, or once you're actually doing your prenatals, what were the first thing they talked about when you asked them about like, how are you feeling about your birth, or how are you feeling about your postpartum period? And they're usually things like, I'm worried my partner's going to be deployed when I go into labor. They're the things of, I don't know what to do with my mother-in-law because she keeps trying to get into the room and we don't want her there. I don't know who's going to come walk the dog if we go longer than 12 hours because my sister can only do it between these hours. And so those are actually the pain points rather than any of the things of being a doula. And so I want you guys to kind of percolate on this while Kelsey's going through it. Because so many of the times when I ask people like, why do you think they want to doula? It's always about because they want to decrease an operative birth. They want to increase birth satisfaction, like all the stats around the benefits of us. And that's not why our clients are booking us.
That's right.
They're booking us because now they have to go to the hospital because they couldn't get a midwife. So they're stuck with an OB. And this was the next best thing, was an OB doula team rather than a midwife at the birth center. So Kelsey, I'll pass it back to you, but I want you guys to think, and it's none of the reasons why you think people want a doula. It's why they want one.
Yes. Oh my gosh. Thank you. That is so true. That's spot freaking on. Yes. It is often emotional need over physical need. Also, so it's just, as you said, keep those things in mind. And if you can bake those things into your copy, then when people read it, they'll feel really seen. Another thing that you can do if you're stuck is, I like to call it mining reviews. And by mining, I mean like Snow White Seven Dwarfs with their pickaxe going for diamonds in the mine, right? So what you can do is, whether they are your own reviews or whether they are reviews of someone who is similar to you, go to their testimonials, go to their Google reviews if they've got them, both good and bad. Look at the reviews and literally take the words out of your ideal customer's mouth. So if someone writes me a review, this just happened yesterday. Someone wrote me a review for my membership, and she told me in her review exactly why she joined the membership. I took that phrase that she said why, and I actually edited my membership sales page to include the phrase that she told me why she hired me. If you literally take the words out of your ideal customer's mouth, you are connecting. Again, we're on connection, right? You are connecting with other people who have a similar issue or a similar problem, similar pain point, similar question. It's like the biggest hack ever, especially if you're ever stumped. If you are stumped with what to say or how to say it, mining reviews is a great place to sort of jumpstart some ideas.
I can validate this as evidence if you guys need. I recently did interviews with a whole bunch of our alumni just to like talk about our messaging for our next round. And then I also wanted a database of all of our Google, Facebook reviews. And so I had one of our interns go through and screen grab all the reviews from the last 14 years. And I
Wow.
was doing I was transcribing my notes from the interviews. And the file came in from my intern, said, here's all the reviews, so that we had a compository of them on our drive. And I looked, you guys, they were exactly the same as my interview transcript. And I was like, well, now I kind of feel like I wasted 14 hours on this interview project. So they were the same words, the same things they loved, the same way how they came across, the same pain points, the same what they got out of it, identical transcripts, reviews, same.
Yes. Well, and that tells you, that goes back to number one, which is clarity, right? So if your reviews are that similar, then not only are you connecting with people, but it's super clear for people. If that's like, if you're seeing the same things over and over again, that's a very good sign. So good job. And yes. All right. Final C before we get into an actual exercise. Okay. So the third C is conversions. So a conversion is just like an action you want somebody to take. So you need to know, though, this is a big, I hesitate to use the word mistake because you don't know what you don't know, but something that I see a lot of people not knowing they need to be doing is you should be setting a conversion goal or a copy goal for every piece of content and every web page that you have. So you should have a different copy goal, or at least a clear copy goal for your homepage, your about page, your calendar or contact, any sales page you have. You need to know before you write what is the action that you want the reader to take by the time they're finished reading. And then once you know what that action is, you should have clear and frequent calls to action. So you may have heard that term, calls to action. It's also referred to as a CTA. People love, is that an acronym? Is that the word? Yeah. You love an acronym.
Love them.
Love an acronym. A CTA is a call to action. So some examples of a call to action might be subscribe to the list, download this free guide, join my newsletter, read the blog, listen to the podcast. So if you are paying attention, you realize that the first word is a verb every time, a verb, an action verb: subscribe, watch, listen, join, download, buy. Those are calls to action, and it is super clear to the reader what they are supposed to do and what the result is of that action. So they know if they hit join the newsletter, that they are going to get a newsletter, right? If they hit buy the course, they know they are going to get a course. Calls to action are a really underutilized thing. People sometimes only put them at the very bottom of a page. But now for a 2023 audience, again, this is new research. For a 2023 audience, you want to have a call to action visible at any time when someone is scrolling. So if you look at a website, at any given time, you want to see at least one button or at least one call to action. That is because people just don't have the same, like, our brains are actually changing with the way that we take in information. So if there's not a call to action on the page, then the person almost forgets that they're supposed to do something, or there's an opportunity to do something. So clear and frequent calls to action. Next thing is a piece of advice to drive to your email list. So I also, for people in service-based industries, I say, like, you might also be driving to like book a consultation, but make sure that you are gathering the email address of the person when you do that. The reason is, there's so many reasons, but the reason is that sales happen in the inbox. They don't actually happen on a website. They don't happen on social media. Here's what I mean. Another nerdy statistic. It used to take an average of 9 times for someone to see something before they say yes to it. With the arrival of social media, that is increasing. And there was a recent study, I believe it was Business Insider, that says it's now up to 30 times that someone needs to be exposed before they say yes. I don't think that's true if someone already has the pain point or the problem, but it's just to illustrate to you guys, it is so much easier to show up to an ideal customer in their email than it is to get them to organically land on your website 10 plus times or to organically see your social media posts 10 plus times. Get their email address. It is the best thing you will do. Growing your email list is also really important for retargeting. Like if someone has another pregnancy, if someone has friends who are pregnant, you want to stay top of mind for people, even if they've already worked with you. So make sure you are gathering emails. And I highly recommend that your call to action be something that drives to an email list. A really great way to do that is by providing some sort of opt-in, AKA freebie, AKA lead magnet, that is directly related to your paid offering, but also gets their name and their email address into whatever system you're using. So it's really, really helpful for service providers. Highly, highly, highly recommend it. But no matter what the action is you want somebody to take, make sure you're setting those copy goals and make sure that you are having clear and frequent calls to action. Okay, so those are the 3 C's of copywriting: clarity, connection, and conversion. And now we're going to do a little bit of a workshop, if you will. So we sort of touched on this earlier, but I want to walk you through something that I do for every single copywriting client of mine. Whenever I work with someone one-on-one, I usually start here. So I always like to start with, who is your ideal customer? What are their problems? What are their pain points? Just like Bianca was saying. And we flex our empathy muscles and our storytelling muscles, and we create I call it my "Do You Dream About" section. So when you have a website, you should start with a headline that is your value proposition or a description of who you are and what you do, a call to action. And then I like to have the very next section be this "Do You Dream About" exercise. So in this section of your website, you're just immediately connecting with that ideal customer. You are showing her that you understand her fears, that you understand her deep desires, and you're building trust, and you're showing her that you are the best person to help her. So again, get your notebooks or get your screenshots ready. I actually created some formulas for you to start if this is something that you're I don't know how to do this and I don't know how to wrap my head around this. I just went ahead and made some examples. But this is just a jumping off point. Formulas are great for understanding structure, but really the content should come from you. So let's start with the first one, this first formula. So you remember, you're talking to your ideal customer. So do you dream about a feeling, an action, or an outcome? So an example might be, do you dream about a home birth but don't know if it's really safe? Do you dream about having a supportive presence you trust? Do you dream about being able to text or call an expert for support? Again, this, doulaing is not my field of expertise, but you can imagine or you can empathize what are some things that your ideal customer is dreaming about that they wish would happen. Yeah. Another formula is I love this for like, I call this sort of calling somebody out and making them be like, ooh, you got me. So, are you a type of person who feels or acts a certain way? So, are you a soon to be mom who's scared of not being in control of her body? Are you a single mom who's scared to do it alone? Are you a first time mom who wants to get it right? Whatever it is, and again, not my area of expertise. These are just examples that I sort of came up with on the fly this morning. But especially if you have a subset of people that you work with, that formula is great. So, are you in a same gender couple and you need help navigating the birth? Or if there's a specific type of person that you are targeting or connecting with or helping, that formula is excellent. And then finally, this is the one that we sort of touched on. This is maybe you feel this negative feeling, or maybe you've tried this other solution and you're feeling hopeless. So maybe this section starts usually with being like, look, I get it. Maybe you're scared that home birth isn't as safe as the hospital. I get it. Maybe you grew up hearing scary birth stories, or maybe you already have a child, but you want to do things differently this time. All of these formulas are ideas for you all to start to think about what scares my ideal customer, what fear can I alleviate, what emotional trigger can I help with. It's a way that you should be thinking about writing your copy. It's not just about like, these are the things that I do as a doula. It is, I understand that this is what you're coming to me with, and I promise you can trust me to help you. Yeah? Okay. So I went ahead and included an example of this. If you want to see this in action, just go to my website to the membership tab. This is my Do You Dream About section. So I recommend 3 to 5 bullet points. Short, sweet, have a call to action. No more than 5. Visually, 5 looks like the maximum. Less than 3 feels like it's not enough information. So 3 to 5 is your sweet spot. And again, it should go as like the second section on your home page or your about page or your sales page underneath like the title of that page. Okay. So hopefully that helps you all. Hopefully that gets you started with something you can actually go away and do when you are either writing or editing your website. So to recap, all your copy, meaning social media, website stuff, email stuff, teaching a class like this, all your copy should be clear over clever. It should invite the reader into a story, like it should be emotional.
Mm-hmm.
It should answer the question, what's in it for me? That is your ideal customer's question. It should match how you talk in real life. If you're coming in and you're like Susie Sunshine pixie dust, don't have your website be like, I am a professional person, right? Because that's going to be very jarring for somebody when they meet you. Make sure that you are writing how you talk. And then finally, make sure that all of your copy is driving your reader towards a desired action. Set those copy goals, come up with your calls to action, and have at least one every time someone is scrolling. All right. that concludes this slideshow, but I am absolutely here to answer questions. If you have, I have freebies available that walk you through some other really helpful things. One being how to start and grow an email list. I have another one on creating and optimizing social media bios. That's a really helpful one. And all of that is at kelseyformos.com/freebies. And then I also have a membership. It's my most affordable offering. And that is for anybody looking to build a small business. But that's just something I want you to be aware of if you need it. And then finally, connect with me. I'm mostly on Instagram at kelsey.writes. So with that, I will bring it on back to the room. Okay. Do I stop the share?
Yes.
Okay.
We had a few questions. Love that. Thank you. I love the dream about. It is such a good jumping off to really think about, bringing it from the pain points really into some of the things that they might have to think about as our potential clients, like take a beat to identify, especially for those of you guys who might be a little bit more experienced as doulas or teaching classes, helpers and healers, because if you can really carefully name the common themes that you notice. Sometimes people don't even really identify, and you saying it out loud first is really connective for them. Because I know, even the controlling one that you used, Kelsey, that sometimes it's kind of like a joke, like, I'm really type A, we all can joke like that. Those of us who are a little more controlling, if you will. But if you start naming the fears part of what it's like to be feeling out of control, so if you either name what could happen in birth, what could happen in parenting, and get some specifics, and then say, do you dream about or are you worrying about, that it can really allow them to actually have this self-identification through that, so that they might not have even had as much clarity around it. Anyway, that didn't make a lot of sense, but I hope you all.
No, it does. It makes a ton of sense. And a way that I like to talk about that is sometimes people don't know the questions that they have until you tell them.
Yeah.
They don't know that once they get down this research rabbit hole, they're going to run into this problem. Right.
Yeah.
And often one of the things that people love and appreciate hearing is it's okay if you don't know this stuff. That's why I'm here, right?
Yeah.
So often, because the internet is so vast, so vast, we are overwhelmed simply by the amount of information that we're faced with. And often we just want to pick somebody to tell us what to do, simply because there's just too much stuff on the internet.
Yeah, you're just wading through and there's already too much going on. And I think if you start almost giving them permission to share the things that they might not, even if it's just permission to themselves. So I know when I talk about emotional labor or the invisible labor that people, even in pregnancy, start doing, going into that parenting journey, which is predominantly held by moms, period. That if you start sharing the times do you actually like doing this, and this? Because I know when I'm in classes with all of you that are watching, you'll say oh, I love helping, or it feels really good to help my people. And then when I start naming, do you like though that you always have to field your husband's family issues? Like his sister calls you to make it a problem, or his mom, and then they're like, well, no, I don't really like that part. I mean, do you like this? And they're like, well, no, not that part. And so you can really help them to say I will support you in getting a clear plan for your mental load and your time in your parenting journey. Because you've said you might like helping people, but do you really like this, and this? And you'll know that because you're giving them permission to say it. Because as you guys know, you probably don't say a lot of things out loud and you talk yourself out of them in your own head. But to have somebody else really lay it out, and that's really helpful for our industry because we're treading in really complicated spaces that are not just based on our services, but touching a lot of deep places that the precarity of trauma, all of the stuff that we're doing. So the dream about, I just think, is such a beautiful entry point to start giving them permission, because as you guys know, we really want to have our clients connect to our guts again.
Yeah.
And we can do that through the copy to start really making them feel empowered and trusting their intuition and making choices for themselves, their bodies, and their babies, and their families, and everybody else that they, love and feel responsible to.
Yeah.
Do we have time for questions, Kelsey?
Yes, absolutely. I'm yours.
Okay, great. So we had a couple questions come through when we sent the email this morning about it. So folks that were going to be watching the replay, but they wanted to get their questions in. One of them was about copy length. The question was a little complicated, so I'm going to just summarize. Does it matter how long the copy is? Because essentially, I think I'm getting from her is that she has the same amount of copy for some of her smaller offerings, like a parent meetup group, as she does for her packages, which are one's $20 and one's $2,000.
Mhm.
And she doesn't know if people are, if it makes a difference of the conversions.
It does. So the amount of copy, first of all, shorter is always better. However, the amount of copy should correspond to the investment the person is going to be making. So, for example, if someone is selling a $1,000 digital course, that's going to need more copy to answer more questions, provide more social proof. The person purchasing something that is premium at $1,000 should have access to copy that thoroughly explains what they're getting and why it's worth that investment. Now, on the flip side, if there's a $27 PDF download, that does not require the same amount of explanation as to its value and what you're getting. That could be done in 3 to 5 sentences, right? Or even 1 to 3 if we're really buttoning that up. So when it comes to describing services or paid offerings, the amount of copy should correspond to the amount of the investment. But I will also just reiterate, shorter is better. Even if you have a lot of copy, break it up so that it's much easier to read. Ease of reading is one of the biggest problems on websites. It's why people bounce. And it's also one of the easiest things to fix. Turn a paragraph into bullet points. Can you make 3 sentences into 1? Break it up, make it more visually easy to read. It literally triggers the brain to think that it's going to be faster to ingest the information. So even if it's like a full sales page, if it's easier to read, someone's more likely to actually take action when they're done reading it.
Oh, great answer to a great question. We had another question around the voice. So some folks have they're independent practitioners and they have a business name. So they're Jane Doe, but their business is like Briar Hill Birth. So do you have any advice as far as do I say I? Do they say, what tone, the you? Take it away.
Just you, if you are the only person doing the work, it is okay if you have a brand name, but your copy should absolutely be in first person. Do not say we, do not say my team if you do not have a team. It also is, I think, especially in this particular field, makes people feel better because if they feel like they're connecting with a real person, they feel like they're connecting with a human. I have the same thing. I am just me. I'm just Kelsey Foremost, but my company is Magic Words Copywriting. But with Magic Words Copywriting, I help entrepreneurs write words that sell without being salesy. So with Briar Hill Birth, I help moms, etc. So yes, first person if it's just you. If your company is a group, then you can say we.
Great. Could you flag some of the places that folks could put their eyes on their copy, including maybe things like email signatures?
Yes. Oh my Lord. Okay. Yes. So great. Okay. So I want you guys to think about creating A value proposition, or what that means is like a one sentence descriptor of who you are, who you help, and how you help them. Um, and repeating that everywhere. Where can you repeat that thing? So here's a action for you to take. Go to kelseyformos.com/freebies, download the Instagram bio freebie. It's a bunch of formulas, and then just use that as your value proposition. Repeat it freaking everywhere. Put it on your website, put it on your email signature, just as Bianca said, put it on your social media, put it on your LinkedIn, put it everywhere. The reason is repetition equals recognition. Something like if I say Kit Kat bar, chances are you can all think, have you had your break today? If I say Disneyland, happiest place on earth, they repeat those phrases, not just because they're fun taglines, but because they want to be memorable and they want you to associate them with this thing. Mm-hmm. So you can do the exact same thing that Disneyland and Kit Kat are doing by having a short one-line description that you repeat everywhere. And yes, your email sign-off is an excellent place to do that. I also highly recommend for my clients, go to Canva and just make a visual email signature that links to either your website or a booking page or whatever it is, instead of just using the text inside Google Mail or whatever it is that you use.
Awesome. So some of our people don't want to do the DIY. Can they hire you to do their copy?
They sure can. They sure can. So I've got a couple of ways to work with me. kelseyformos.com/services, or just go to my website. It'll be super clear. I have 3 ways that I work with people. DIY is one of them. Done with you is another one, where if you guys want to actually be like coached at the same time that we write, I really love working that way. It's also more affordable. It is essentially you sit with me for an hour to 3 hours and we focus on one project that you have. Thank you. And it's done with you. So we're actually on screen together and you're watching me as I write your stuff. The last way I work is just done for you. You can be like, Kelsey, I don't want to touch this. I want you to do it. You're the professional. And I will just write it for you. And that's anything from websites to sales pages to emails. Just let me know what you need. I come up with a package. You can see, again, like sort of starting package ideas at kelseyformos.com. And I'm happy to help you. I love, love, love getting my hands dirty and getting under the hood, helping people with their copy.
That's amazing. So Kelsey kicked us off with the first workshop of the Doula Club, which is a doula support membership that is created by doulas for doulas, and the founding members came together and they're incredible, and Babel Mia is cheering and supporting and doing whatever we need to do. So we want to make sure that we always have incredible experts coming in to provide that support and education. Also within the club, there's going to be breakouts and meetups so that you can join with seasoned doulas or brand new doulas or childbirth educators, lactation educators, all these amazing helpers and healers in fertility, pregnancy, birth, and the postpartum period. So grab your membership. You can join at babelmia.com/doula club, and you can use the code TRY30 so you can get 30 days free. We have really great features within the club, including a point system that you can cash in for swag, courses, and support. I love points and like gamification things, so don't you worry, it's there. And we're going to be dropping all the links for Kelsey. We're also going to be sending an email to everybody on our mailing list that will go through how folks can work with Kelsey, those awesome freebies, the membership, all that good stuff. Kelsey, I'm so excited. You kicked us off, and everybody, we are going to have Kelsey back. So we have a few more topics that we both are obsessed with and we're going to do together.
I'm really excited to dig in. I was like, this is the appetizer, y'all. Like, you don't
Yeah.
even know.
Yeah. You don't even know what's coming. So thank you so much, Kelsey, for joining us smack dab in the middle of summer for us over here and smack dab in the middle of winter for all of our folks on the other side of the planet. Thank you so much. This was so helpful. If anybody has any feedback or wants to be working with Kelsey, please hit her up on her website or DM on her Instagram. Thank you so much. I loved this.
Thank you. Thanks, everybody, for being here.
All right. Thanks, y'all.